back here on Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. You know that we love everything that Ring of Honor does. They've been one of the promotions that has really supported us from the very beginning, and we've been fortunate enough to be at their live events and talk to just about everybody on their roster, but they keep adding some new and exciting stars. One of those new stars, one of the new signees to Ring of Honor, joins us now on the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline. He is the Metal Head Maniac Sledge. You can find him at Sledge 805 on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. Sledge, how are things on the West Coast?
Everything's good. Just wearing our masks and staying protected, man. That's it. So
yeah,
yep. And if I sound a little muffled, I apologize.
No,
I'm wearing my mask out in public.
I'm glad you're wearing your mask. We're telling everybody to keep their masks on. So everybody's is good where you are. No, we don't have any medical medical needs or anything like that. Everybody's good with you.
Everybody's great.
Good.
We're all just trying to stay healthy and safe as much as we possibly can in these crazy times. And hopefully this will pass very soon so I can get back to TV and start whooping people's asses in the ring. I
know. I agree. I mean, you just got signed. So let's talk about your journey to Ring of Honor. You've been in the Ring of Honor dojo there with Will Ferrara and everybody. Talk about what brought you to that and then how you got from the dojo to getting signed to be part of the Ring of Honor roster.
Well, what happened was I originally got hot a little on the indies from the Steve Austin podcast. So I was on Steve Austin's podcast, and that kind of launched me into a different, I guess independent bracket would be the best way to put it. And I've always been a big fan of Ring of Honor and Ring of Honor's product. And they were throwing a show in Vegas, which was, I think it was their 18th anniversary show. And something told me that I had to block out that weekend. I had a number of opportunities to go wrestle on the indies and stuff like that, but something was telling me, block out that weekend, man. You got to go and show face at Ring of Honor. So I blocked out that weekend. I went and I showed face at Ring of Honor, and I went and I just busted my butt, man. I put up the ring. I was laying down mats. I was doing, you name it, man, I was doing it. And I caught the eye of a couple of the Ring of Honor, office guys, and they put me next to, the producer at the time. And he asked me if I wanted a job. I said yes. He said, send me some stuff. And I did a seminar with Billy Gunn, who said, always bring a resume and an 8x10 wherever you go, because you never know when they're going to ask for it. So they asked me to send them some stuff. I already had an 8x10 with my resume on the back, so I handed it to Will Ferrara. About a week later, I didn't hear anything through the weekend. About a week later, I got a text, asked me if I was going to be in New York for WrestleCon and for WrestleMania weekend, and if I wanted to come to the G1 Supercard at Madison Square Garden. I said, oh, hell yeah, I'm there. At that time, when I got there, I got pulled into the office, and they offered me a tryout. I did the tryout in May. Was it April, May? Did tryout in May, and then they offered me a dojo spot. And then I moved officially from California to Baltimore in September, busted my butt in the dojo. And then they offered me a contract in February. I just signed my deal at the end of February with them. Making a long story right there very short.
No, that was perfect. That was great. And believe me, I understand your reaction when they invited you to G1 Supercard. I was lucky enough to be there to cover it for the radio show, and for a kid from small town Northeast Texas to be able to cover a wrestling event in Madison Square Garden, that was a no-brainer. That was the whole reason I went to New York that weekend, so I can understand completely.
Man, when you go up in that elevator, dude, and at Madison Square Garden, you go and you walk in, they give you your lanyard and they give you your shirt and your hat and all that, and you're going up in that elevator, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's up or down, one of those two. And you walk out, you don't realize how big that place is until you walk out. I've been in a number amount of arenas. I've done a number amount of extra work for X amount of, wrestling companies. But Madison Square Garden, man, that's the Mecca. That's the, that's big time, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. You're absolutely right. you say you came up through the California scene, which I tell you what that is as fertile of an independent scene as there is anywhere in the U.S. You've got some great promotions that are out there, some wonderful talent that come out there. Let me ask you, what was the highlight of your journey through the independent scene in California and in the Western United States?
The highlight of it, there was a lot more. How can I put it? There was a lot more downs than there were up. I mean, it's a wrestling business, man. You know, you make the wrestling business what you want the wrestling business to be. You know, it's kind of the best way I kind of like to put things. I got to work with a lot of my mentors and a lot of my people I idolized growing up, like Gangrel and Rikishi and a number amount of veterans, you know, and I got to work Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. I got to work Nick Aldis on Championship Wrestling from Hollywood and be on the 10 Pounds of Gold. There's just, it's been a lot of ups, but a lot of downs. But, the California wrestling scene, man, I'm so glad that's starting to get its due, is the best way to put it. Right. With, a number amount of talent that I've known for a number amount of years to be some of the top talent in the world, and now California is starting to really show out, same with Texas. Texas starting to show out too, man. I love Texas,
Well, I appreciate that, and you're absolutely right. It's it's getting where you don't have to focus on the Northeast and in that area. You can find great independent wrestling anywhere in the U.S. and I would say yes, especially in California and in Texas. So we're talking with Sledge here on Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. I wanted to ask you this.
What part of Texas are you in?
I'm in Austin. Austin.
Love Austin.
Yeah,
love Austin.
Oh, it's a wonderful city.
Number amount of work with Chris Marvel out there.
Oh, okay, yeah, at Hybrid down in San Antonio. Yeah, absolutely. Chris is one of our favorites. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done a number amount of things with his school. I've held seminars. I've done stuff with Branded Outlaw Wrestling out there, Wrestle Circus. So I love Texas.
That's the okay. Now I was thinking you had worked Wrestle Circus at least a time or two.
Yeah.
So that's good. Yeah, that was one of our home. That's one of our home promotions. So absolutely, that's great. I wanted to ask you this because I was doing some research and of course talking to the Ring of Honor PR and everything. And they mentioned about and I looked at your Twitter, and you mentioned I think it was yesterday, marks 6 years of sobriety.
Yes.
Talk about that for a little bit. Talk about your journey, because you hear it all the time. You have to get that bottom before you go up. But talk about that journey a little bit, and talk about how proud you are to proclaim that it is now 6 years sober.
6 years sober, man, that's a huge milestone, especially for me, man. I've always been kind of the best way to put it, I've always been kind of a knucklehead. It's the best way to put it. I've always had to learn things the hard way. And, and I think that's sometimes the best lesson is learning things the hard way. I've always battled with depression ever since my dad passed when I was 12 years old. I was kind of left on my own after that. And I turned to alcohol at a very, very young age, partying, being just a straight-out knucklehead. And I got hurt fairly early into my wrestling career, and they told me that I needed to quit wrestling. And I was like, no, that's not going to happen. So I suppressed it with pain pills. So pain pills and alcohol is a dangerous combination, guys. I swear on everything that's holy that it's not a good combo. At the time, I was doing stuff on the indies and I was living that rock star life, and then things at home were going bad. And then everything just came crashing down one day, man. The wife left me, the whole nine. I got into a match completely intoxicated because I was just out of my mind. I never thought, honestly, in a million years that I'd be sitting right here talking to you over the phone, and being signed to Ring of Honor because I was at that low. I was ready to literally just call it quits and just be done with life because I didn't think anybody cared. And to be honestly and 100% honest, somebody does care out there, guys. And if you battle with addiction, you battle with depression just like I do, Trust me, there's somebody out there that loves you, and there's somebody out there that will help you. Trust me on this. And my best friend, Jason Turner, man, helped me tremendously through my addiction. And that guy is my brother, and still checks on to me this day and tells me how proud of him, how proud he is of me and coming out of the ashes. Man, I never thought I would wrestle again. Ever, 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 ever. And now I'm signed to one of the biggest companies in the world. And trust me, if you want to do something in your life, don't let addiction and depression hold you back, because the grass is greener on the other side from addiction. Trust me on this. I am a true comeback story. Trust me.
I love that story. I really do. You mentioned your best friend, and I know having the support system around you is vital to your recovery. I know that it's one of those things. It's obviously daily struggle, but you're right. Coming out on the other side, the grass is so much greener, and things can be so good. So I commend you on that. It's a very wonderful story. Tip of my cap to you, absolutely, for being able to beat that addiction and continuing to beat that addiction every day. I was looking through your Instagram, and I saw you have a dog, and I'm a dog lover. Tell me about your dog.
I'll tell you a funny story about dogs. So I'm going to Steve Austin's house to do his podcast, right? And I have a fear of dogs. This is before I owned 2 dogs. I was ran down when I was a kid, and I think it was a pit bull ran me down, ripped into my back, and like threw me around like I was a rag doll, right? So I've always had a big fear of dogs. And I'm walking into Steve Austin's house, 316 Gimmick Street, to do his podcast, and he has 2 beautiful dogs. And now I'm trying not to freak out because I'm walking into Steve Austin's house, and his dogs are jumping on me. So once again, I'm trying not to freak out and just completely just go nuts, right? And his dog, I think, realized that I was really nervous and I was very uncomfortable. So his dog came, man. I was sitting on Austin's couch. And I was talking to his wife, and we're talking about TV shows. And Austin comes out, and his dog's laying on my lap. His head's just beautiful, and he's beautiful. And Austin walks out, and he goes, "I've never seen my dog do that with anybody." And I was like, "Man, maybe I'm turning into a dog person," And my roommate at the time bought a dog, and he wasn't, really taking care of it very well. And I just fell in love with this dog, man. And his name's Bentley. And he is a pit bull bulldog mix, American Blue Nose, man. And I fell in love with this dog. And he's my buddy, my man. And then he's a rescue. So then we just rescued an American Kelpie, because my dog, needed a friend, because I'm always on the road, So we got an American Kelpie who is just a gem and just wants to be loved and always wanting to cuddle, man. And my dogs have a real people say support animals, right? Mm-hmm. And my dogs are my support animals, man. I love my dogs to death. I'm always cuddling with my dogs. I'm always posting pictures of my dogs. Man, they keep me and they keep me scheduled. They keep me, I got to wake up. I got to take them out. I got to feed them. Because I have to stay very structured. I have to stay very schedule oriented, or I just go nuts. Right. So
I get you. And dogs are such a wonderful judge of character. And so, it doesn't surprise me that it was a dog that kind of found you and knew you had good character, and that led to you loving dogs and having dogs. That's such a great story. We're talking with Sledge. You can follow him at Sledge805 on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. Speaking of Twitch, I do know you have a podcast called Coffee with Sledge. Tell us about your podcast and tell us about what coffee you drink.
All right. So Coffee with Sledge came about. Well, I was just doing it on Instagram Live, and I have a buddy who is partnered with Twitch, and he asked me, he goes, "Hey man, like, you're doing this stuff on Instagram Live. Why don't you do it on Twitch?" And I had another buddy who asked me to do Twitch about a year earlier, and I shrugged it off. And when a door opens twice, man, you got to go through it, right? So I went and I got everything I needed to do this show with Twitch, and I'm sitting there trying to figure out OBS, and I'm freaking out because I don't know how to do any of this. And I luckily found my producer, man, who's out of Florida. You guy's a great guy. He has helped me out tremendously. And it was just something where you could just sit down and just like, I have a lot of, acquaintances in the wrestling business, and a lot of people want to know what people are doing during quarantine. And, it's just something to do, something to pass the time, and something that I can bring people on, and I can sit there and just talk to my friends. And we, it's not really super structured. We just kind of jump on and BS. And that's kind of like how Coffee with Sledge came about. And we just partnered with AC Slade, who is the bass player for the Murder Dolls. Played bass in Joan Jett, played bass in the Misfits, and also the original bass player for the band called Dope. We just partnered with him, and we're going to start drinking. I'm going to start drinking. It's on its way, called Catfight Coffee, and who is the official sponsor of Coffee with Sledge. So big things are coming along with that, and I never thought it would, because I just did it as something to just pass time with, honestly. Just give some entertainment to people, get some content out, have some fun with my coworkers. Had a number amount of Ring of Honor stars on there, and just people just to kind of get to know who I am. Yes, I'm this big bad mofo in the ring that loves to beat people up and has a little bit of a dark side to him, but at the same time, man, I like to talk and hang out too. So, there's two sides to the coin there. So.
Absolutely. So those are some of the best shows, best podcasts, and just conversations, just finding out more about individuals. So make sure you find him on Twitch at twitch.tv/Sledge805. Look for Coffee with Sledge, and check that out. Let me ask you this. So now that you're signed to Ring of Honor,
Yep.
and I know you're chomping at the bit to get in the ring as soon as they get back to doing events, is there somebody that's on the roster now that you know that if you two get in the ring, it will be instant magic and instant chemistry? And you give me a couple of prospective opponents that you're looking at facing.
There's a couple of people. Shane Taylor, I would love to. I love big hoss fights, man.
And Shane's a big hoss, believe me. I've worked with Shane quite a bit, so I know what you mean.
I mean, I love those guys that are just going to sit in there and just bang. We're going to go in there, we're going to bang, and we're going to show everybody the big guys can move too. We're not just stagnant. We can move. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And Shane T is one of those guys. When I first laid eyes on him, I was just like, "Yo, we could tear a house down." Roosh, world champion. I got my eyes on him. There's not a guy, honestly, on the roster that I don't believe that I can't go in there and tear a house down with.
Right.
I've wrestled Jeff Cobb a number amount of times. Because he's from California, he's from Honolulu, Hawaii, but he moved to California and broke out in the California scene.
Right.
So I've wrestled him a number amount of times, and I could go in there and we could tell a good story. We could tear a house down. Brody King, another guy, big hoss guy, love to get in there, tear it down with him. We've only wrestled once. Tyler Bateman, been in the ring with him a number amount of times. Used to tag with him back in the day. We would tear a house down. Vinny, Matt Taven, Don Castle, Joe Hendry. There's not a guy on that roster, like I said, that I don't believe that I can go in there and tear a house down with, and on top of that, beat.
I love it. I think it'd be I think those would be fantastic matches. Yes, and absolutely. I'd love to see you and Shane Taylor in the ring together. I'd love to see you and any of those guys in the ring together. It'd be whatever the matchup may be. It's going to be a fantastic match. Looking forward to it. He is Sledge. Again, follow him at Sledge805 on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. Sledge, thank you so much for giving me some of your time. You're a fantastic individual. I look forward to seeing more of you on Ring of Honor when they get back to doing events. Until then, all the best to you, all the best to everyone around you. Please be safe, be well, and we'll talk again soon.
Hey, man, thank you so much for inviting me on your show, man, and good luck to you, and stay safe out there in Texas, man, and tell everybody I said hi, because once again, man, I love me some Texas.